Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Jennifer Jackson, and I'm a mind-body practitioner who specializes in midlife divorce recovery and empowerment for women. It's so great to be here with you today on this webinar called The 3 Keys to Heal Your Heart, Let Go, and Move On from a Midlife Divorce. In the next 30 minutes, you're going to discover a proven process to heal your heart, let go, and move on faster and more effectively than you thought possible. Specifically, you're going to learn the 2 biggest mistakes that keep people stuck in divorce pain for years or decades and how to avoid them, a simple shift in perspective you can adopt right now to start moving forward immediately, and the 3 most important action steps you can take to get started today. So who is this for? If you're anywhere in the process of divorce feeling stuck, that is, stuck in painful emotions such as anger, sadness, guilt, shame, resentment, or fear, stuck in painful thoughts about your ex or your situation that play on in your head like a broken record, stuck in painful questions such as, why did this happen? What did I do wrong? Or, what's wrong with me? Or, how do I let this person I've been with for so long go? Or let go of this dream I've had my whole life? Or, just plain stuck in your situation, wondering how you're ever going to move forward and create a life you love. If any of these sound like you are in the right place, and this presentation is designed for you. So, before I dive into the 3 keys, I want to tell you a bit of my personal story and how I got into this work. I earned my bachelor's and master's degrees from Yale University, where I studied psychology as well as music. I was always fascinated by the workings of the brain and the subconscious mind and why people do the things they do. I was also interested in how people learned, and I wanted to work with children, so I became a teacher and taught school for almost 20 years. During that period, there were 2 times where I had to let go of what I had known and start all over again. The first was my divorce, and the second was when I lost the teaching job I thought I would have forever. In both cases, I felt completely at a loss for a while, sad, angry, depressed, and not quite sure what to do with myself. Both situations involved losing friends and community I thought would be there for me. Both situations left me questioning my worth and what I had to offer the world. And both situations left me virtually sleepless for months on end. After the divorce, I got a prescription for sleeping pills, which did help me sleep for a time, but which I don't recommend. The pills were a Band-Aid that just covered up the real issues, and ultimately made things worse for me down the road. After the job loss, however, I found a mind-body practitioner who helped me get my life back. He helped me heal my heart, calm my body, embrace my power, and ultimately find me again. The night after my first session, I even got a solid 6 hours of sleep, which felt like a miracle to me at the time. And so my healing began. During this time, I experienced, explored, and became certified in several mind-body techniques that made all the difference in leaving my pain behind and passionately moving my life in a whole new direction. Although it certainly didn't feel like it at the time, I now see this painful period in my life as a tremendous gift. My heart had broken open, and when your heart is broken open, it's also open to transformation and growth. I became a different person. I learned how to forgive myself and others. I became more loving and compassionate. And I finally learned what it meant to love and honor myself, which allowed me to truly hold a loving and sacred space for others. So instead of looking for another teaching job, I opened a healing practice called Discover the Missing Piece, where I could use all I had learned from different phases of my life, including my academic studies of psychology at Yale, my hands-on mind-body trainings and certifications, as well as my own life experience to help others. Over the years, I have helped people overcome many challenges, But my heart opens most when somebody shows up in the middle of a face-down moment, wanting to rise up, move through it, and come out stronger on the other end. I found I especially connected and resonated with my midlife divorce clients because I could empathize so strongly with them. So I have created a simple yet powerful path to help women heal their hearts, let go, and move on from a divorce to create a vibrant new life. But before I talk about this path, I want to dispel 2 myths about healing that lead to some of the biggest mistakes that keep people stuck in divorce pain for years or even decades. There is a common saying that time heals all wounds, and I think this is a misleading saying. Now, it is miraculous how you can fall off a bike, have horrible road rash one day, and then just a couple weeks later can hardly tell that ever happened. Or how a paper cut can be so painful when it happens, but hours later you can hardly remember which finger got cut. But imagine breaking your leg. Time alone does not heal that wound. There's a proactive process you go through. You go to the doctor. You get an x-ray. The doctor sets and casts the leg, and over time the bone heals. In this case, time alone is not the cure. Time is an ingredient. But imagine what would happen if you just relied on time to heal something as serious as a broken leg. Meanwhile, maybe you drank alcohol or took drugs to numb the pain, or pretended the wound didn't exist and kept going about your usual routine, or were in so much pain you couldn't even go anywhere at all. Chances are time would probably help to some extent, but the bone would not heal properly and you'd be in some pain the rest of your life. The same is true for emotional wounds. Isolated, superficial wounds that weren't that painful to begin with do heal with time. But a broken heart is like a broken leg. It's not a superficial wound. If not treated correctly, it could cause you pain the rest of your life. But luckily, like the broken leg, there is a proactive, proven process for healing, which we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes. So the truth about myth number 1 is that time alone does not heal deep wounds. Actively engaging in a proven process heals deep wounds over time. So let's look at myth number 2. Myth number 2 is that talking about your feelings with family, friends, or even a traditional talk therapist is the best way to heal painful emotions. But the truth about myth number 2 is that while talking about your feelings is a good start, there is a much more powerful technique to heal painful emotions that is both faster and more effective. And you're going to learn about this technique in the next few minutes. So let's move on to my proven proactive path to healing. The 3 keys to heal your heart, let go, and move on from a midlife divorce. So key number 1 is to adopt an empowered perspective. So it's been said that only 10% of your happiness is based on your circumstances. The other 90% is how you respond to your circumstances. I love this perspective because it puts most of the power and responsibility in our own hands. Take, for example, the statement from a woman we'll call Mary. My husband left me, so my life is now ruined. The fact that Mary's husband left is true. This happened to her. This is the 10%. But the fact that Mary's life is now ruined is her own perception. Try her perception on for a moment. My husband left, so my life is now ruined. How does that make you feel? Empowered? Hopeful? Optimistic about the future? No, I didn't think so. Imagine how this disempowered perception colors everything Mary sees and affects everything in her life. This is the 90%. Now try this on. Same situation, different perspective. My husband left me. I feel devastated and cast aside, but know I can create a new life with new people and opportunities given some time, the right techniques, and the right support. Can you feel how much more empowered that is? Can you feel how that simple shift of mind opens the door for brand new possibilities? While you may feel resistance to the idea that your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are what keep you stuck, it is actually very empowering. We often don't have control over our circumstances, but we can learn to choose our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs so they work to create our highest good rather than keep us stuck in a prison of our own making. So key number 1 is to acknowledge that everyone has difficult circumstances at some point in their life. But what keeps people stuck for years, decades, or even lifetimes are disempowering thoughts, feelings, and beliefs about those circumstances. If we can identify the specific thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that are keeping us stuck, then we can work to acknowledge, process, and ultimately transform them into something more empowered. And that's when people really move forward. My client Jen is a great example. When Jen came to me several years ago, she was devastated. Her husband had left the family for another woman, and Jen was left to pick up the pieces, all the while struggling with anger, grief, shame, and frustration. But she was determined not to stay in that space for long. Although she was struggling financially, she made healing her top priority and invested in the help she needed to transform her thoughts, feelings, and beliefs quickly and thoroughly and move on. Today, just a few short years later, Jen is thriving. Her old divorce pain seems like ancient history. Her business has taken off, and she has attracted someone new in her life. All because she made a decision to use this face-down moment as a catalyst for personal growth and to invest in the help she needed to heal and move forward in her new life. You can do this too. It starts by acknowledging that your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are powerful. They are what either keep you stuck in your unwanted circumstances or propel you forward into a new, vibrant life. So key number 1 is to adopt an empowered perspective. Let's look now at key number 2. Key number 2 is to use mind-body techniques to transform disempowering thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that are keeping you stuck. So there's no doubt about it. Divorces hurt, no matter what the circumstances. Nobody walks down the aisle picturing their marriage ending in divorce. On that day, you have hopes and dreams and an imagined future together. When those hopes and dreams come to an end, it's at the very least disappointing, if not completely devastating. It's natural to have all kinds of painful thoughts about your situation, which lead to painful emotions, perhaps some of the most painful emotions you've ever experienced. When painful emotions are acknowledged and processed thoroughly, they can move through your system and you can move on with your life. However, often we don't know how to process our emotions. We try to numb them with food, drink, or other substances. We distract ourselves from them with shopping, the media, extra work, or other busyness. We complain about them to friends and family so they grow bigger and bigger. Or we get so stuck in them, it's all we can experience. The real danger happens when we get stuck in negative feedback loops. We think painful thoughts, which create painful feelings, which create disempowering beliefs, which creates more of the same. And this can go on and on for years or decades. Painful emotions and disempowering beliefs not only feel bad, but they can get stuck in our bodies and cause physical pain. Disempowering habits, such as emotional overeating or any other addiction, depression, illnesses, a feeling of numbness that lasts for years or decades, or other disorders such as the severe chronic insomnia I experienced. So the question becomes, how do you process painful emotions so they move through your body and don't get trapped? There's a primitive part of our brain called the limbic system that is in charge of emotions and long-term storage of emotional events. And these stored emotional events form the basis for the beliefs that shape our lives. This picture illustrates the three-part human brain. The green area represents the oldest part of the brain, the reptilian brain, which deals with basic survival issues. Next to evolve was that emotional part of the brain, the limbic system, which is pictured here in red. Over a period of millions of years, the neocortex evolved, which is the part of the brain we most strongly associate with being human. Here is where logic and reason reside, and it's what makes possible the learning of languages and other skills that we can learn, but our animal friends cannot. So you probably noticed that the limbic system or emotional brain predates language and logic by millions of years. This means that while talking about your feelings is a good start, it's usually not enough to fully process them through the body so they move through and don't get stuck. It's kind of like those old Charlie Brown cartoons. Remember when the teacher spoke, all the kids heard was wah, 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 wah. This is what I picture the limbic system understanding when we try to use more evolved processes such as language and logic to communicate with it. So in order to deeply heal painful emotions, you need an effective way to communicate with this primitive part of the brain. The mind-body techniques I use have been scientifically proven to effectively communicate with the limbic system. Scientific studies have shown these techniques to send signals of calm and peace to the limbic system, reduce physical symptoms of stress in the body, dramatically reduce emotional intensity around past traumatic events, such as those leading up to divorce, and to rewire the brain to experience less stress and more peace. These techniques feel magical. Traditional talk therapists recognize the value of these mind-body techniques. Many attend the trainings I've offered or have attended to learn these techniques themselves. Some refer clients to me, and some have actually become my clients. Here's a note from my client Sandra. These techniques are off the charts. I'm a different person than I was a couple months ago. When I try to think about the issues I came in for, I realize they're gone. The heavy feelings that had been weighing me down for so long seem to be permanently erased from my consciousness by this amazing technology. When I think about all the time and money I've spent over the years on different therapies and supplements, I realize I could have saved so much if I'd just started here. I feel so good all the time now. So it's also important to complete the past. If the past is incomplete, you may carry stuck emotions in your body, which could create the problems we mentioned earlier. Get so stuck you can't move on? Or move on but recreate the same bad situations with new people and have to start all over again. My techniques are especially effective for clearing past trauma, so you can fully forgive and move on. No matter what old skeletons are in your closet, we can shine the light on them and begin to move forward. So I want to tell you a little bit about my client, Michelle. When Michelle came to me, her divorce had been final for almost 3 years, but she felt stuck. Her ex had married the woman he had left her for, and they seemed to be having a perfect life. In fact, they were doing all the things Michelle and her husband had planned to do together. Her ex seemed to be having this great life, but Michelle felt she was just going through the motions of hers. Nothing seemed to bring her joy anymore. Michelle had been carrying extremely painful emotions around the divorce, and they had gotten stuck in her body, making her feel stuck in her life. We quickly went to work with my powerful past clearing process, and boom, Michelle felt completely different. She described it as a balloon popping wow kind of thing. 2 days later, she felt better than she had in years. She went out with friends and was surprised to hear herself laughing, genuinely laughing. She hadn't heard that sound coming from her own throat in so long. She became involved in her church and helped lead a retreat. She went out with friends more. She started feeling better about herself and took a dance class. Then, from this new, grounded place of power, forgiveness, and freedom, she was able to attract an amazing new man into her life. 3 years ago, all she wanted was her husband back. Now she says she's happier than she was in her marriage. She largely attributes this reclaiming of herself, her joy, and her peace through the work we did together. These techniques really work, and they can work for you too. So key number 2 is to use the mind-body techniques to transform the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that are keeping you stuck, and also to complete your past. So let's look at key number 3. Key number 3 is to find the people who heal your heart and to let go of those who don't. This key might involve some changes in your social circle. One of the most devastating things about a divorce is not only losing your husband, but losing many other people you knew while you were married. This may include his family, his friends, friends you had as a couple, or even your own friends. There are many reasons for this. Sometimes people take sides. Let's face it, his family and longtime friends are more likely to take his side, just as yours are more likely to take your side. Or even if they don't take sides, they may feel awkward or even disloyal hanging around you. Becoming uncoupled changes the dynamic with these relationships. Then there are your friends and family who might be judgmental. They might not believe in divorce, or it might trigger fear in them. Or maybe they want to help you, want to be there for you, but simply don't know how. They haven't been there. They don't know what it's like. They don't know what to say. Or they're just too busy with their own families. And that hurts. For me, loneliness was the hardest part of moving through my divorce. So, an important part of my program is providing a safe, positive space for women moving through divorce to meet other women in similar situations so they can support each other. When women support each other, incredible things happen. Many of my clients tell me how healing and supportive the group aspects of my program are for them. One of my clients recently told me she was feeling down on New Year's Eve because she was home alone. But then she tuned into the group and realized she wasn't alone. She got healing and comfort from the women in the group and was able to shift her mood and enjoy the evening. So, key number 3 is to find those people in your life who do help to heal your heart. And hopefully you have at least a couple of longtime friends or family members who are able to fill that role. It also involves blessing and releasing, at least for now, those people who may be taking sides, being judgmental, or simply don't know how to be your friend right now. It may be hard to let them go, but the sooner you do, the faster you will move on. If this is especially hard for you, the mind-body techniques I use can help you release them in a gentle, compassionate way. And finally, it involves finding new people in your life who do understand, who do know what it's like, who do know what to say when you need support. You may find these new people in a church group, a new activity, or in a supportive forum like this. So here is the recap of the 3 keys to heal your heart, let go, and move on from a midlife divorce. Key number 1 is to adopt an empowered perspective. Key number 2 is to use mind-body techniques to transform the disempowering thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that are keeping you stuck and to complete your past. Key number 3 is to find people who heal your heart and let go of those who don't. These are the exact steps to healing, but without complete knowledge of how to do the mind-body techniques, a guide to lead the way, and a supportive community, they are hard to take on your own. So I've developed a 3-tiered program. All 3 tiers are important to the healing process, and I like to describe them using the analogy of transforming a chaotic, messy junk room into a beautiful home office. Let's say in this messy junk room, you've stored some heavy furniture you can't possibly lift yourself. You can't make much progress in this room until those large pieces are removed, and you can't remove them without help. So you enlist the help of either some strong friends or professional movers to get those big things out of the way. And boom! The room already looks 100 times more manageable. Now it's just boxes, papers, and little things you need to sort through. So I liken the heavy lifting to tier number 1, which is my powerful one-on-one deep dive transformational sessions. This is where the big leaps occur, and often in just a couple of sessions. So here's a note from my client, Fatima. In just a couple of sessions, I came a long way. Before we started our work together, I felt stuck, clogged up, spiritually disconnected, and unable to forgive and move forward. I kept replaying old scenes in my mind and asking questions that couldn't be answered. I have to admit, I was skeptical about this mind-body work because when I tried it with just the videos and no guidance, I didn't feel anything. But as soon as I started working with Jennifer's guidance, I noticed things shifting right away. Today, I feel so much better. I've found forgiveness, acceptance, and compassion for myself, and have reawakened my spiritual connection. I've found acceptance for my situation and no longer spin around in my head with unanswered questions and bad feelings about my marriage. I no longer feel stuck. I feel like I'm finally moving on. Overall, I feel so much lighter and more at peace with everything. So these one-on-one deep dive transformational sessions last approximately 75 minutes and are done on Zoom or the phone. The sessions are gentle, powerful, and long-lasting. And as Fatima said, just a small number of sessions can get a huge result. And many clients even say that one session is worth years of traditional talk therapy. So the second tier of my program I liken to the work you can do yourself to transform that messy room. In fact, you're the best person to do that work because it involves sorting through boxes of personal items and papers, some of which are important and some of which just need to be thrown away. And only you can really make that call. And once you get your office set up, you need some sort of maintenance system to keep it clean and organized. So I liken both the sorting and discarding part of that process, as well as the maintenance of your clean room, to the transformational work you can do on your own. So an important part of my program is empowering you to use the mind-body techniques yourself to reduce stress in your body, manage painful feelings in the moment, shift disempowering thoughts, release disempowering habits, as they all occur in daily life. To help you develop these skills and techniques, I provide step-by-step instructional videos and skill sheets, reflective exercises, and guided recordings to download and use on a regular basis. While the one-on-one sessions are designed to help you make big leaps and clear out big stuff, the work you do yourself is where the real, lasting change occurs. This is where you shift your day-to-day thoughts, feelings, and habits that are disempowering to thoughts, feelings, and habits that are more empowering. Finally, in transforming your room, you may need some support and advice along the way. Perhaps you need some decorating tips or advice on what office equipment to purchase. Or maybe you need some help painting the walls or help taking your old junk to the dump. One thing is clear. It's hard to make big, lasting transformations on your own, especially when recovering from a divorce. I mean, think about it. The grief, the anger, the devastation, the loss of identity, the total upheaval is simply too much to handle alone. So with my program, you don't have to do this alone anymore. Not only will you have me as a guide, but I've created a beautiful space for like-minded women to connect as a group on live Zoom calls, as well as in a safe, supportive Facebook group. I can't tell you how many people have told me how supportive and healing this third tier of my program is. So, you're probably thinking, this all sounds great, but how much is it going to cost? I can't afford to spend thousands of dollars right now. Well, I've been through a divorce, and I've been through job loss, and I've lived on unemployment, and have had to foreclose on a house and live with a friend for 10 months. And boy, do I know what it's like to feel like my finances are chaotic and uncertain. And I know there's a good possibility that right now, going through your divorce, your finances might feel like that too. So although I know this program is worth thousands of dollars, and many people would charge that much, and I've certainly been advised to charge that much, one of my priorities is to keep this program financially accessible for most people. So there are several different options, starting as low as just $197 total for my basic group program. And what I would love to do right now is talk to you on the phone to see if what I have to offer is a good fit for your needs, and to see if there's a heart connection between us. If it is a good match, I would love to invite you to join my supportive healing community. And if it's not a good match, I promise I won't try to force you to buy anything. I truly want what's best for all concerned. This is simply an opportunity for us to connect and for you to see if my program is what you're looking for. So, if you're interested in exploring this option, I warmly invite you to apply for a free Heart Connection call. Simply go to this address to apply for your call: www.bit.ly/free heart call. You can go to this address and apply for your call, or you can click on the button below, which will take you directly to the application. If you're typing the address in your browser, it is, again, www.bit.ly/free heart call. That's www.bit.ly/free heart call, all one word. On the call, I'll simply ask about you, your situation, and what you're going through, and we'll chat for 15 to 30 minutes to see if it's a good fit. At the very least, it's an opportunity for you to have a compassionate ear. So if you're feeling stuck and deeply desire to move forward, this could be an amazing opportunity for you. The only thing you have to lose is your pain. So I want to thank you so much for attending this presentation, and I hope to talk with you soon. Again, if you would like the opportunity to talk with me and join my healing community, please please go to www.bit.ly/free heart call and fill out an application. Thanks again, and I hope to talk with you soon.